Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome the members of council, staff, and members of the public to our Monday, July 13th council meeting and call this meeting to order. Now, we did have a closed meeting. We came out of session. I'd like to ask the clerk to give the mayor's rise and report, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. So council received an update regarding the approved medical leave of absence for Councillor O'Hara. Councillor O'Hara continues to work towards a return to health and being able to return to his seat on council. At this time, unfortunately, that recovery is taking longer than anticipated. There is a motion to go forward with that rise and report as well, Your Worship, and that motion is that the Council of the Town of Petrolia extend the medical leave of absence for Councillor Ross O'Hara through to the end of the 2022-2026 council term.
Thank you. I'd like to ask for a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor for further discussion. Moved by Deputy Mayor Field, seconded by Councillor Hyatt. Any further discussion regarding the motion? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. That'll take us on now to the previous minutes of a council meeting held on June the 22nd. There is a motion there before you. I'll ask for a mover and a second to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Patel, seconded by Councillor Clark. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to adopt as circulated minutes of the regular meeting of council held on June 22nd, 2026.
Thank you. Any questions, errors, or omissions? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us on now to the minutes of a zoning bylaw amendment meeting held on June the 22nd. There is a motion before you. I'd like to ask for a mover to second to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Deputy Mayor Field, seconded by Councillor Clark. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file as information notes of the June 22nd, 2026 public information session held regarding a zoning bylaw amendment.
Thank you. And again, any errors or omissions? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving those minutes? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us on now to the moment of reflection. I'd like to ask everyone to please stand. Thank you. Please be seated. That'll take us to our roundtable announcements. And tonight we start with Councillor Clark, please.
Pardon me. Thank you, Worship. Other than to once again congratulate our great volunteers in Petrolia for everything that they've done between the June 22nd meeting and today. The Parks and Rec Committee, Larissa, and the marketing team, Tara, a list of volunteers that you couldn't even begin to name, or I couldn't. Just to say once again, great job and making us very proud again.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. I'll also speak to some of those events as well. Councillor Hyatt.
I have nothing to share. Thank you.
Nothing at this time. Councillor Patel.
Thank you. Through you, just a couple of things. Ron Clark Motors RV joined the community to send kids to camp through the YMCA. We were able to navigate some articles and some donations to donate $450 to send the kids to camp. So I know that the feedback from the Y is that they had hit their campaign goal and exceeded it. So that was great news. Earlier this evening, I had the privilege of meeting with some staff and council to unveil the mural on the back of the building in the public parking on the back of my building. So this was a creative adventure from Ava Horwitz, part of our youth advisory committee, who designed and painted the mural to represent the voice of the youth in our community, a vision of the youth advisory committee that was started 4 years ago, and an honor for the No One Stands Alone initiative. So please take a look. She did a beautiful, beautiful job, and I was thrilled to be there to honor what she had done and the help of so many to put that together and get it posted. And just, again, the events over the last few weeks, as many, were well done, well attended, even in the heat. There was more smiles than complaints.
Thank you, Councillor Patel, and that's great news. Councillor Welsh.
I have no doubt that you're going to mention this also, but the donations from the Clark Family Foundation for this community were significant last week, and their commitment to the committee or to the community, not monetarily, is also significant.
It's great news, and you're right. I will speak to that as well. Deputy Mayor Field.
I'm just going to, I feel like I just repeat, maybe I'd go first next time, but
We rotate this.
our community is so amazing. From all the events, the amount of people are here, and I just love talking to people. When I'm at these events, it just makes me feel so good about our community. So I want to thank staff again. You spend long hours. I'm just so happy that we have so many volunteers to do some of the manual labor lately. That's been great. And I want to commend Petrolia Discovery. I went to the Antiques and Uniques that the Heritage put on, and the Petrolia Discovery is amazing. And I just really encourage people that haven't been out there in a few years to go out and take a look at it. You've done a great job out there. So that's it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Field. I have a few items. I'll try and review them quickly. I attended the SLEP annual meeting at Sawmill Creek on Tuesday, June the 23rd at 7 a.m. It was a good meeting with a great turnout. I also attended the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority held on Thursday, June the 25th in Strathroy. That also approved the budget for 2027, and I'm pleased with an increase of 3%. I brought greetings on behalf of council and staff regarding the opening of the new batting cages and bleachers in Greenwood Park on Saturday, June the 27th. It was also my honor to dedicate the batting cages to the Druitt family, who have continued to work on the ball fields for a number of years. Special thanks to Mrs. Julie Bullock, Director of Parks Recreation Facilities, who is the MC, Ontario Trillium Foundation, town staff, volunteers, and community organizations, and all those who supported local baseball. Deputy Mayor Joel Field and Councillor Clark were also in attendance. I attended the County of Lambton Full Steam Ahead launch party that was a sneak peek into what the Summer Reading Challenge was in store this summer at Victoria Park on Saturday morning on June the 20th. There was a number of events for children, and a good time was had by all. Congratulations to the county staff involved with this event. I attended the county-hosted draft plan of subdivision for the Glenview Estates and Murphy Development on Monday, June 29th at Victoria Hall with several other councillors, and again, this was a good turnout. I also attended the Canada Day festivities on Wednesday, July 1st, including the official grand opening of Tank Street Heritage Field, and volunteered later that evening. It was a great day with a good turnout, especially for the fireworks, probably the largest turnout that I could remember. Special thanks to the sponsors, staff, volunteers, and service organizations involved. I also attended the Lambton County Council meeting held on Thursday, July 2nd, and will continue to keep council informed. I attended the Petrolia Community Fund presentation held on Monday, July 6th at the Victoria Hall lobby. Special thanks to the Clark family, as mentioned by Councillor Welsh, for their support and donation of $241,561.01 to the CEE renovations, Victoria Hall renovations, and the Petrolia Discovery. And that's all I have. That'll move us on now to the updates from the council representatives on the different committees. The first one is the Petrolia North Inniskillen Fire Committee, and our representatives are Councillor Chad Hyatt and Deputy Mayor Joel Field. Which one of you gentlemen would like to take the lead? Okay, Councillor Hyatt, go ahead, please.
Thanks. So I guess our first meeting of 2026. So I've handed off the reins after 2 years of being chair of that committee to a member from Inniskillen Township, Mr. Williams. So he will take the reins for the rest of this year. Heard some updated information from Chief and Meisner Engineering related to a renovation project for decontamination. We have approved to utilize up to $40,000 to start some exterior work related to the renovation project, which will come from the washroom reserve funds that we've set up, the decommissioning or decontamination facility reserve fund that's been set up. And then we'll recontribute any surplus that comes back from the end of the year in the fire department back into that decontamination facility reserve. So hopefully a little bit of closed loop. Did a pretty good job with the budget control last year. There was some surplus left over, so hopefully we can reinvest that back in and then get that replenished. Then we did also have a look at the draft ENR bylaw update, which I think has been going around for a few years. Still, let's say the cogs are in motion to get that finalized. Looking at having a working group in August to kind of have a re-review of said bylaw and probably come back to the new fire committee later in 2026 once it's been established. So yeah, lots of things happening. Great meeting. We welcomed our two new members, Mr. Williams and Mr. Field is back for a turn. So yeah, a great meeting for our first meeting this year.
Thank you, Councillor Hyatt. And I also want to thank you and congratulating on your 2 years as chairman on that committee. And they were quite detailed minutes for those that read that in detail. There is a motion to approve the minutes. Would you like to make that motion?
Yeah, so I think what's presented is just the agenda. The minutes haven't been officially released yet, but they will be released here in the near future.
Okay, thank you. So I have a motion for those, for that motion before you. I'll ask for a seconder to put that on the floor for more discussion. Moved by Deputy Mayor Field. I will open it up for discussion. If not, I'm going to ask the clerk to read that motion so we're all clear, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file the Petrolia North Enniskillen Fire Committee meeting update from the June 18th, 2026 meeting. I
Well
believe
done.
Councillor Hyatt.
Okay, that's all right. Any further discussion? Call the vote. All those in favor of approving those minutes? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us now to our Emergency Management Committee. Our members are Deputy Mayor Field and Councillor Welsh. Which one of you two would like to take the lead on that? Deputy Mayor Field, go ahead,
Sure, I'll
please.
take that. We had a very good meeting. We had good discussion around our emergency preparedness and response plans. We talked about our EOC organizational structure, our emergency shelters in town. We reviewed our volunteers. It was just a really good conversations that we had throughout that meeting. And we received a letter from the Petrolia Legion as a potential emergency shelter, and the staff are going to review the facility and make some recommendations back to the new council when they have their next meeting.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Field. And we do have a motion before you. Would you like to make that motion to move it? I'll need a seconder for that, seconded by Councillor Hyatt. I'll ask the clerk to read those minutes,
And
please.
that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to endorse as presented minutes of the Petrolia Emergency Management Committee meeting held on May 20th, 2026.
Okay, last kick. Anyone else have anything to add? If not, I'll call the vote for that. All those in favor of approving those minutes? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us on now to the Lambton Group OPP Detachment Board. Our representative is Deputy Mayor Field. Would you like to speak to that, please?
Sure. Yeah, thank you. We had a good meeting. They reviewed the March and April reporting period through the staff sergeant and the inspector. And I think there is an attachment. There is a lot of good information on there. I'm not going to go through each little stat, but we had good discussion. There's still a big concern with the catch and release. They seem to be arresting people and putting them away, and they seem to be out pretty fast. So there's still a lot of discussion around that. And I don't think that's going to go away. And there is a commercial vehicle blitz that was going on through Plimpton, Wyoming and around the highways. And some of the other municipalities are having issues with golf carts, but there is just a lot of different information in there, but just encourage everybody to read it. But it was a good meeting, and it's a good chaired meeting.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, and I'd like to recognize the chairman is here, Mr. Greg Nemchek. Welcome. Yeah, I think there's a motion before you. Would you like
Yeah,
to make
I'll
that
make that,
motion to
yeah.
move that? Deputy Mayor Field, seconded by Councillor Clark. I'll ask the clerk to read that, the motion, please.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file the Lambton Group OPP Detachment Board June 2026 meeting information.
All those in favor of approving those minutes? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us now to correspondence. We have A to F. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor. And if there's anyone that would like to pull anything out. Moved by Councillor Wells, seconded by Councillor Clark. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
That is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to receive and file correspondence items 13A through F.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Not, I'll call the vote. Oh, sorry.
There's
Councillor Hyatt, go
I
ahead.
guess a question on D, the heads and beds payment in lieu. Would supporting, I guess from a staff perspective, would supporting that resolution be of any benefit for the town?
Okay. Could you like to speak to that?
I'll actually refer
please?
to our treasurer as the finance item.
Oh, okay. Mr. Shalabah, go ahead.
Certainly, through you, your worship. The heads and beds is a taxes in lieu, or sorry, it's a payment in lieu of taxes, PILT. And I've been here 13 years and it's been $75 per bed for at least 13 years and probably longer than that. And I think, which Ms. Tangushin was trying to have a discussion to try and increase that, which would be welcome because it's more than, the hospital gets all the same benefits every other organization gets in town.
I'd love to add to that and say
Yes, sir.
it's been in place longer than that.
Yes.
Is that okay, Councillor Hyatt?
Yeah, so I guess I'll make it, I guess we can, I'd like to pull that one out then, I guess, for a separate resolution. if
All right,
that's-
we'll do that separately. So we'll go from A to F, excluding D. Is that clear? So I'll ask the clerk to read that motion then, please, so we're
Perfect.
clear.
And moved by Councillor Welsh, seconded by Councillor Clark, that the Council of the Town of Petrolia receive and file correspondence items 13A through F excluding D.
All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Okay, now we'll deal with D. Councillor Hyatt, do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, motion, sorry, I
Support that.
didn't prepare one in advance, I apologize. Motion being to support a joint discussion with,
Okay.
with the town of Tangushin.
And I'll need a seconder. Seconded by Councillor Clark. Any discussion regarding that? Are we all clear? We're going to support that. I don't think we need to read that. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. That'll take us now to correspondence for consideration. There's none at this time, but it's my pleasure at this time in regards to under delegation presentation. We have a check presentation from the Central Lambton Optimist, and I'd like to ask that they come forward, please. And I'd like to ask Mrs. Bullock, Councillor Clark, and Councillor Hyatt to go down and accept that check, please. And the floor is yours. Go ahead.
So on behalf of the Lambton Central Petrolia Optimist Club, we are pleased to present this payment representing the full repayment of our 3-year loan the town so generously provided us last September. Thanks to this loan, along with the incredible support of our wonderful sponsors, we've been able to create a safe, welcoming, and enjoyable space at Kerr Park for our youth and everyone who visits and enjoys the park. We sincerely appreciate the town's confidence in our club and your support in helping us make this project a reality. Thank you again for your generosity and partnership.
Thank you. And I just want to echo, I am really thrilled. Yes, we did give you that loan, but you've paid this back in what, 1 year?
1 year out of 3.
So that is great news. So congratulations. But I'd like to ask those to come forward to get a picture to accept that check.
You.
And again, I'm really pleased with the support from the Service Club to be able to do those improvements to a park with basically a loan and to pay it back so quickly. As I said, that's great news. Keep up the good work and thank you.
Yeah, I'll make a comment too as well. Like I spent a lot of time at the ballparks and Like the playground looks amazing. The kids are on it nonstop. Even when the games are going, half the kids want to be on the park as opposed to the ball diamond. So, so thank you. It looks great over there, and the kids are thoroughly enjoying use of the playground. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Councillor Hyatt. Yeah. All right, let's move on. We have a delegation from NBP, our town auditors, Mr. Giovanni Spadofora and Nella Fleet. Did I get that right? Okay, please come forward.
It's good to say this.
And as I mentioned earlier, council has already received this and reviewed this, so we already have that, so you should be able to skim through it, so go ahead.
We will be as quick as possible. Thank you for having us. So I'm going to start and we will skip some of these slides here as well. So I'll move it along, but I'm going to start with just the results of our audit. So I'm going to go through, and I'm not sure who is controlling up on the screens there, but a couple more slides here. It'll say introduction. And basically we want to just say that, yes, we have completed our audit in accordance with the auditing standards. A few items there of the completion, which is just the approval of the financial statements by council and subsequent events procedures that we will do with management. We'll go to the next slide here. So our independent auditors report will provide a clean opinion on the statements as in previous years, and we'll go through that a little bit later. Next slide here, we talk just about our risks. These two significant risk areas exist in every single organization. It's management override of controls and a presumed fraud risk related to revenue. Again, nothing specifically unique to the town, but exists in all organizations. The right side of that table has kind of the procedures we performed, and happy to report for both. There were no issues identified as a result of these procedures. The next slide here just talks a couple other significant audit accounting matters. So no changes from our audit service plan that was previously presented. There were no significant limitations or no suspected fraud or non-compliance were brought to our attention during the audit. There were no issues regarding going concern with the town or no significant matters in connection with any related parties. No significant deficiencies in internal controls as a result of our audit, as well as no significant matters that were brought to our attention by management that needs to be brought forward to council. And then our significant differences point here, Giovanni will touch on it a little bit later. And then our final materiality for the audit here was 969,000 in comparison to 850,000. This is just our threshold that we use for our testing and what we base our opinion on. The next slide here is just related to the accounting policies, estimates, and financial statement disclosures. There were no significant changes in any of these items over the prior year. And then the next slide here, we will request some management representations at the end of the audit, as well as we do confirm that we are independent of the town throughout the course of the audit. And then I am going to pass it off to Giovanni, who will cover off a few other areas.
Okay, and then get into the statements with a few kind of high-level points. This summary of differences we'll touch on in a little bit in the appendix. So I believe the next one is just the appendix, and then our audit process. Like you said, you did read through all this. So of our kind of procedures and understanding of controls and everything like that, you can rest assured that as part of the audit standards, over the next two slides, everything was completed as identified here. And then I believe on Appendix B, next slide, we get into some numbers here. So overall, just to highlight on the statement of financial position, we do kind of touch on our assets, our liabilities, and then our non-financial assets. So you can see overall from 24 to 25 in the total financial assets, up 1.9 million. Now that mainly is due to the receivable line item with the intake project. And that does translate down on the liability side where you see an increase of about 850,000. The payables were up again, point in time there as of the end of the audit reporting period. Overall, our net financial assets are up on that net financial asset line from 6.4 up to 7.4. Which is showing some growth there. And then on the non-financial asset side, this is where we're recording all the capital assets that have been recorded. That's up 4.3 million year over year. And then in total, we have a accumulated surplus position that we're up by 5.3 million. And you can see that in the bottom line there, 107 up to 113, 100 million overall there. So that's the statement of financial position with the prior year comparatives. The next one is the statement of operations itself and kind of the revenues by source and the expenses by essentially department. And you can see that with the comparative budget line item on the far left. A big change in the budget you can see in the grant line item. Wanted to highlight that due to that water intake and water main project that was taken on. That was just under $4 million. So you can see that, wasn't in the budget line and it is in the overall actual for grants. So that brought our total revenues just over 21 million against expenses of 16. So our annual surplus, like I mentioned, the 5.3 is sitting there. But in the next slide, you'll see how the 5.3 kind of compares to the actual positions. As we've mentioned before, we compare the surpluses. But overall, at the bottom there, you can see in the middle of the 113 again, and we'll look at that note in total there in a couple more slides. So the next slide. So the accumulated surplus here. So this is where we're showing our investments in equity positions like Blue Water Power, and then our kind of surplus for the year of 428,000, which is our net surplus through the actual transactions, and it is used for reduction of future taxation or overall through the working capital. So you can see here also the reserves set aside by council and kind of how those have grown. Not too much. It's pretty flat overall in terms of the total reserves, but overall we make up that 113 million position there overall. And I think just checking my notes, the next slide, yes, does have our comparison of our surplus through our accounting system versus our surplus for through PSAS and the financial information return. Again, we highlight the differences. So you can see the list there, but basically the annual capital expenditure, net reserve transfers, debt payments, all of those are what the differences are between that 5.3 million on the financial statements and our actual for reduction of future taxation of 428,000. So we thought we'd summarize that a little bit better this year. And next up, the slide shows details on the capital. It changed, right? We added about 7.8, almost 8 million. We had our amortization for the year, so we're just kind of showing the continuity there. And some major projects, of course, that intake project being the biggest one, and some water main replacements. So showing what makes up the $7.8 million of capital projects. And then our unadjusted differences just point to the working capital items and the opening balance fix we had to do through deferred revenue. So these are differences between the information that we have through the financial statements, and they aren't material, but we are just pointing to that. We do have those figures in the financials. And then after that, our communication with those charged with governance. So council in front of me here, just recognizing that we are preparing these statements for council. There's the communication between both us and yourselves, and there's a bit of a list on the next few slides. Don't need to go through all of those, but communication that we did have as part of the beginning of the job through the audit service plan, determining materiality. Also, if there is any lines of communication that need to be directly to us from council as external auditors, we kind of go through some of that detail. But as far as throughout the audit and at the end of the audit here through this audit findings report, we feel like we've satisfied all the communication. But if there is anything that from looking at that list that we did need to follow up on, you'll let us know. So that's kind of the next few slides. Again, you took your time to read over those. So if there was anything, and I believe that is it, and we'll open it up to questions.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank you for going through that very quickly. But again, yes, we all had that information and council would have reviewed it. But I will open it up to council. Any questions regarding the audit? I'm really pleased with it. I'm always concerned with cash flow and the handling of cash, but I feel pretty confident that everything is in place that should be. Again, Mr. Charlebois, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may, Your Worship.
Go ahead.
Just like a lot of people don't understand, but an audit takes a lot of effort on the part of the auditing firm. And also, like, we started last fall and just finished actually last week. It's not 24 hours a day for that time, but there's definitely peaks and valleys of the workload. But I'd like to thank Annette and her team, and it involves the whole management team. Like, the audit covers the whole place. And thank you very much.
Yeah, and I see Annette just came in. We want to thank you too for your involvement on this. And thank you both for coming. I guess one last chance for council. Anything else? If not, thank you for coming to address council.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. That'll take us now to the community announcement, recognition and awards. We have a motion before you. I'll ask for a mover to seconder to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor Hyatt. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
That is for the council of the town of Petrolia to receive as information only the July 13th, 2026 community announcements as presented.
And as usual, Mrs. Ellsworth, you have anything you'd like to add?
Your worship, I do actually. The golf for Charlotte, FORE, so everyone knows, is Thursday, August 20th at Kingswell Glen Golf Course. So if you want to get out there, do some golfing and support the hospital, that's a great opportunity.
Thank you, Mrs. Ellsworth. And I do believe we have two teams. Is that correct, Mr. Charlebois?
Correct, your worship.
Thank you. All right. I'll ask for a motion to approve that. We've already got a move in a second. All those in favor? Oh, Councillor Petrolia, do you want to speak to that?
No,
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. That'll take us now. We have a report from, oh, sorry, just want to, I think I jumped the gun. This is my first opportunity for anyone wishing to address council. Is there anyone wishing to address council at this time? You will have a second opportunity later. Now, we have a report from Mr. Rick Charlebois, CEO Treasurer, regarding the 2025 audited financial statements. There is a motion before council. Ask for a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Welsh, seconded by Councillor Hyatt. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
That is for the council of the town of Petrolia to adopt the report of the CAO treasurer dated the 13th day of July, 2026 regarding the 2025 audited financial statements, and that council adopt the draft 2025 audited financial statements.
Thank you. Mr. Charlebois, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, your worship.
Thank you. Any discussion from council? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Moving on, we have a report from Mr. Rick Charlebois, CAO Treasurer, regarding the 2025 year-end financial results. You have a motion before you. I'll ask again for a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Deputy Mayor Field, seconded by Councillor Hyatt. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the council of the town of Petrolia to adopt the report of the CAO treasurer dated the 13th day of July, 2026 regarding the 2025 internal year-end financial results, and that the town council approve the transfer of the 2025 town general operating surplus in the amount of $428,461 to our working capital reserve in the amount of $285,641, and our operating tax reduction reserve, the amount of $142,820, and that council adopt our draft 2025 audited financial statements.
Thank you. Mr. Charlebois, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yes, your worship. Just wanted to make sure council notes that we have one set of books, but we present it two different ways. And Giovanni explained that during his presentation there. And there's quite a difference. And it's because of the way two different accounting processes. One's PSAB or Public Sector Accounting Board, and the other one is the way we manage internally. It's the same for both public and non-public companies, basically. But just want to make sure we don't have two sets of books.
Thank you, Mr. Charlebois. Any questions from council? Deputy Mayor Field.
You still make me nervous every time you say there's two sets of books.
One set.
He said it very nicely.
Yes.
It's when you laugh through it.
Sorry.
All right, sorry.
I just want to bring out a couple of things. I'm really pleased to see this $428,461 surplus. I think the town's done great. I want to thank our treasurer, Mr. Charlebois, and his staff for throughout the year. I also want to point out that the VPP also contributed or transferred $211,000 to the Victoria Hall renovations, and that's last year. So I just wanted to mention that. Any further discussion from council? I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us now. We have a report from Mrs. Annette Strand, Manager of Finance, Deputy Treasurer, regarding the 2026 end May financial report. And you do have a motion there before you. I'll ask for a mover to seconder to put that on the floor for discussion, please. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor Hyatt. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
That is for the council of the town of Petrolia to receive and file the report of the deputy treasurer dated the 13th day of July, 2026 regarding the budget 2026, end of May 2026 financial results.
Thank you. And Mrs. Strand, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, your worship. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Charlebois, are you okay with that as well?
Yes, actually, just one point I was going to make is under the water capital. So as the public may or may not know, this year we're going to finish our major intake. It's the big pipe that goes out into Lake Ontario. We do that about every 80 years. So this is probably your last chance to see a big pipe get dropped into the lake. I know I'll be there, and I think it's the last 2 weeks of August is when we get closer and get a definite date, we'll spread that around. So that's end of August.
Go ahead, Mr. Thompson.
Through your worship, yeah, we had a meeting out on site last Thursday, and it's kind of a moving target. I think Galcon was mobilizing today or tomorrow with the excavator, start digging the trench in the lake, which is interesting in itself, I find. And then yeah, once that's done, they're going to float the 2 sections of pipe out from the Sarnia dock, which is at the end of Exmouth. And they'll float it out and hook it up and sink it. So I don't know the exact dates, weather permitting and scheduling and what have you. So we're going to talk about it more at our next meeting, which is 2 weeks from last Thursday. We'll get a better idea when it's going to happen, but it might be, a couple of days notice, but we're not going to know like 2 weeks ahead of time. So.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson and Mr. Charlebois. I think that's an exciting time for the town. And hopefully we can all get out there and watch them drop that line. That's the $16 million project we've been working on for the last number of years, of which we received 12 million from the province and the feds. Thank you. Okay, I think I'll call the vote on that. Are we ready? Okay. Any other discussion from council? I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving that motion, opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. That'll take us now to we have a report from Mrs. Larissa Ellsworth, Director of Marketing, Arts and Communication, regarding the Victoria Hall renovation update for SEMA proposal. Now you have a copy of that proposal, and there's a motion before you. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put the motion on the floor for discussion. Moved by Deputy Mayor Field, seconded by Councillor Clark. I will ask the clerk to read that motion before I open it up.
And that is for the council of the town of Petrolia to approve the report of the Director of Marketing, Arts and Communications dated July 13th, 2026 regarding the Victoria Hall renovation update for SEMA Plus's proposal. And that the SEMA Plus proposal be approved as attached in the amount of $452,800 plus $45,280 excluding HST. And that SEMA Plus have authority to contact the associated subcontract specialty work as detailed above. And that the council authorize Mayor R. Brad Loosely and the CAO Treasurer Rick Charlebois to sign the agreement.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. This, I'm really pleased to see council considering to move this forward. I want to just clarify that amount of money is for the whole project, for the whole thing, not just for some of it. That's the whole deal. All right, I'll open it up for discussion. Any member of council? Councillor Welsh.
Through you, I just have a couple of questions for Ms. Ellsworth. The structures that are being put up, they're both completely independent of this building. They're structurally sound on their own.
Through you, your worship.
Go ahead.
Councillor Welsh. Yes, they are freestanding effectively and making access to the existing building at the points that they require. So their bases and all of the stuff for the elevator and everything else foundation wise will be standalone. Yes.
Councillor Wells, go ahead.
To my knowledge, we've never had a heritage alteration permit or ever issued one, really, but I guess if we need to, we'll have to. The other question I have is they talk about the heritage conservation plan here. Is it possible to recommend that they do include that, or that we get into a discussion with SEMA, because it would inform our asset management plan for the building for years to come, I'm guessing, and would help with that.
Mrs. Ellsworth, go ahead. Do you have something you'd like
Through
to add?
your worship, to Councillor Welsh. I mean, ultimately, I think it's a great plan for the building in its entirety. maybe not a good focus of this specific project, but overall and overarching, yes, I think so. It's good to keep that in mind as we move forward. Perhaps something we can look at, making addition of or something like that as far as that goes.
Yeah, I'd like to just, so I'm clear and clarified, is that, there's that $26,000 that was there for the heritage, is that seems a little high to me, or or am I missing something?
Your worship, it's also it's because we need to go to the federal and provincial levels to obtain the approvals to make the changes to the facade. And that does take a little bit of effort on behalf of both SEMA Plus and the organizations to make sure that, to Councillor Welch's point, that we are being sensitive and considerate to make sure that we stay within those parameters of not, building something that's garish or over height. So those expenses are for that
Okay.
process. And also for that study to ensure that we're not damaging any integrity of the existing facility for heritage.
Okay, with that, thank you. Any other questions from council? Mrs. Ellsworth, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Your worship, if I could invite Artistic Director David Hogan. I believe he might have a couple of things he was waiting to say.
Mr. Hogan, would you please come forward?
Councillors, thank you, councillors, my friends. It's been a pleasure being the artistic director here for 15 years. I never thought I'd be this long, and it's when you're in a job like my job, the word job doesn't even exist. It's a vocation. I love the arts. I love the people. I love community. I love who we invite to our town, and it's been a pleasure. I grew up in Windsor. This is a little story I'm going to share with 9 brothers and sisters. And my mom and dad were such community-based people. They belonged to the Club 240s. They all the optimists. They were such part of the church, and they always invited people to our house all the time. We were in a 3-bedroom, 1 bathroom, and a small bathroom off when you came into the house. But everyone was always at our house, and my friends always had to come to our house. We weren't allowed, and our sleepovers were at my house. There was no room, there was nothing. And my dad kept saying that you have to invite people over, you have to bring them part of your family living. And no matter who came, we were like the Von Trapp family. My dad would call us all down, welcome, thank you for coming. We'd look at my father, okay, you guys can go. We went. And then when they were leaving, we all came down, whoever was available, we had to say, thank you for coming. David, John, get the door, I'll get the door. Someone go take them to the car, we took them to the car. This is how we grew up. That's how we learn. And it clocked in me always in customer service. You greet them at the door. You thank them, you seat them, you take them to their car. Safe travel. We hope to see you back. So with all that, we are on brand. The Victoria Playhouse does it in spades, more than any other theater. So the reason why I'm thrilled that I was invited to talk is the one downfall is that our age-friendly visitors, and it's a dignity, and I love that Larissa said it's not a vanity project, it's an accessibility project, and it's the dignity of our age-friendly people. We have to look after them when they're here. We're close to over 30,000 to date. We're going to reach our 40,000. We're up from COVID, gratefully, so grateful. And as they're coming from Windsor and South London, Kitchener-Waterloo, when they visit and they're all that long ride, they sit and watch the show. The show is doing extremely well, as we all know. And then they have to go, we have to look after them when they're in our house. We're inviting them to our house. We have to see them, make sure they're taken care of, and take them to their car. That's my job, and I think our job as community-minded people, that it's not a vanity project, it's an accessibility project. To get them, there should be washrooms on all levels, and I'm sure we all agree, it's the cost, it's very expensive, but for their dignity, it's hard for 9-year-olds to go all the way downstairs and then all the way up for intermission. Some people sit out Act 2 because they can't get upstairs. Right. And I just am so grateful to be in this position where I can talk to the likes of you to say, we're doing well. Well, people love our town. People love Victoria Hall, your beautiful community. And I want to encourage that we take care of them when they're visiting us. Thank you for your time.
Just before you go, Mr. Hogan, any questions from council? Deputy Mayor Field.
Thank you through you. Thank you for what you and David do. And thank you, Larissa, for everything you do. And the customer service is, now we know why. You greet everybody at the door and you are crossing guard as well. That explains a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Last time I went up those stairs, I was pretty convinced that we need an elevator. So I don't think it's, well, gray or white hair, maybe. It's for the older generation, but you know, it's for everybody, and you're right. It's the accessibility. So thank you for everything you do.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
And before you go too, maybe I missed it when you were saying how busy your household was.
Yeah.
Did you say how many children? There's a word in your
Mom and
family.
Dad had 10 kids.
10 kids. So
Yeah.
10 kids bringing people in
All
with
this
one
time.
washroom.
Yeah.
You can relate.
Oh, no, they also had a powder room. And it was the first thing my dad did, is oddly enough, and this is a true story, is because he wanted people to come, but they needed, just in case they needed to dilute. So it was just a sink, and it was underneath and it was just so the guests can, that's hilarious. So I thought, oh, full circle. There it is. Life. Yeah.
I too want to thank you for your contribution to this. And I appreciate you saying how important this renovation is to this town, to Victoria Hall. And you're right. This is not about being pretty. This is about a need. So thank you.
Pleasure. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you for coming to address
First time
council.
I spoke, and it was a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Any other questions? I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. That'll take us on now to a report from Mrs. Julie Bullock, Director of Parks, Recreation Facilities, regarding the report back from the council regarding the mayor's mayoral direction. There's a motion on the floor. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to put it on the floor for discussion. Moved by Deputy Mayor Field, seconded by Councillor Hyatt. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion.
And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to adopt the report of the Director of Parks, Recreation and Facilities dated July 13th, 2026 regarding the mayoral direction 2026-01 for participant data at the Greenwood Recreation Center, and that the Director of Parks, Recreation and Facilities be directed to use these figures to fill out the Plimpton, Wyoming grant application for future years.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Councillor Wells.
Ms. Bullock, could you explain to everyone why it's specifically to the Plimpton, Wyoming and not the other municipalities?
Mrs. Bullock, go ahead.
Through you. It's basically Plimpton, Wyoming has a grant application process now. Currently, we are still sending out invoices to the other municipalities, Enniskillen and Don Euphemia. They are still paying those invoices. So at this point, this is Plimpton, Wyoming is the only municipality that we kind of need a new process for. So that's why it's Plimpton, Wyoming only.
Thank you. Mr. Charlebois, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may add, Your Worship and Julie, is last year was the first year we didn't know there was an application form, and they sent us it the day it was due. I think they sent us the application form to fill out. Yeah, and as per the note, we now have the stats of how many of the participants are from Plimpton, Wyoming, for figure skating and for hockey, minor hockey. Yes, so it's about 20%.
Thank you, Mr. Charlebois. Any other questions from Councillor Hyatt? Go ahead.
So I guess there was another motion that came from Councillor Welsh a while ago to talk about a larger impact study on the arena from an operational perspective. Like, is there any possibility of deferring this decision until we understand the impacts of this grander project that we're looking at in terms of, for decision making? Like, when is that report coming back to council? Would it be available before 2027 budget for the next council to discuss and determine the impacts of ice costs versus asking other municipalities to help pay for the arena?
Mrs. Bullock, would you like to speak to that, please, regarding the other motion?
Yeah, through your worship. We are hoping to have that kind of come back to council at about the same time as the budget, so that we can use that report to kind of help us look at user fees and different things like that. So we are expecting that that more comprehensive report to come at that same time as budget.
Cute.
And
Okay.
I guess the next question, if we're waiting until that time, does it fall out of line with the approval cycle of Plimpton, Wyoming for potentially providing grants? It would be too late.
I don't think it would be. Mrs. Bullock, go ahead.
I believe last year we had to have that grant application to them. I think they sent it to us in October, and I'm pretty sure, and we had to have it back to them.
It was due the same day they sent.
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
That's interesting because they informed me, the mayor made it clear to me that they gave us a month's notice. So that's interesting. Yeah, okay.
perhaps it went to someone else.
All right. We have a motion on the floor. There's no further discussion. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. And again, I want to thank Mrs. Bullock for her report. Thank you. That'll move us on to water, wastewater. We have a report from Mr. Mike Thompson, Director of Operations, regarding the operations services for sanitary collection and stormwater management systems as required as part of the town's CLIECA. And I'd like to ask for a mover and seconder to put that motion before you on the floor, and I'll open it up for discussion. Moved by Councillor Hyatt, seconded by Councillor Welsh. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the council of the town of Petrolia to approve the report of the Director of Operations dated July 13th, 2026 regarding award of operations services for sanitary collection and stormwater management systems as required as part of the town's CLIECA, and that the Ontario Clean Water Agency, Aqua, be awarded the contract at the cost of $49,481.21 plus HST, and that on behalf of the council of the town of Petrolia, the Director of Legislative Services, clerk, be authorized to execute the agreement and affix the seal.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. Any questions from council? Councillor Welsh.
Through you to Mr. Thompson, just wondering what the provisional items were that are suggested to be excluded from this.
Mr. Thompson, can you address that,
Through
please?
your worship, to Councillor Welsh. It was basically enforcing the bylaw per se, and also inspection of the grease traps in the restaurants and the manholes at the property lines for some of the industrial properties and what have you. So I think this will evolve over time. We wanted to keep it at or around the budget we budgeted for. So we've talked about potentially doing some of that in-house with the Public Works Department, but as I mentioned, it'll evolve and I mean, we'll keep an eye on it and see where we want to go. So.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, anything else from council? Mr. Thompson, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Aqua wanted to be here tonight. They place a lot of importance on that when a contract comes to council. But unfortunately, fortunately for them, they're on vacation. So, so Joe actually called me today, and Robin was busy, and Sam and Joe was going to cancel his plans, but I said, don't worry about it. But he sends his regrets, and he appreciates everything. So,
Okay, thank you. And I just want to recognize Miss Calme from Meissner Engineering is present here tonight as well. All right, any other questions from council? I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. This will take us to the second opportunity for anyone wishing to address council. Is there anyone wishing to address council at this time? Don't push or shove. That's okay. We'll move on. Thank you. There's other business and items under strong mayor's powers. We have our bylaws. I'd like to have a motion to have the bylaws read a first and second time. Moved by Councillor Clark, second by Deputy Mayor Field. Okay, all those in favor? That's carried, and I'll go to the third reading. I'll ask for a motion to have the bylaws read a third time, finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by.
Can we read them separately?
You can. We can do them separately for the third reading.
Please.
Okay, we will do the fencing bylaw first. I'll ask for a motion to have them read a third time. Moved by Councillor Wells, seconded by Councillor Clark. Any discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. That'll take us to the zoning bylaw 31-226, 40%. I'll ask for a mover and seconder. Moved by Councillor Wells, seconded by Deputy Mayor Field. I'll open it up for discussion. Councillor Hyatt.
I guess for this one, it's, I'm a little bit on the fence with this one here. We've had, since I've been on council for 4 years, we've probably looked at 4 different site-specific zoning bylaw amendments that have come through. And R18, R19, R110, none of those specific subdivision or developments looked at 40% lot coverage. Everyone seemed to be fine with 35%. There was not a special request that when we're making the amendment, that we move it to 40%. So I'm not just sure why we're going to go with the blanket approach on the 40%. That's really kind of my thought. Some of the original developments that came through also asked for smaller lot sizes. I think they were down to 320 square meters with a focus of, affordability, cheaper houses. If we're going to put an extra 5% on a house, that's probably an extra $40,000-$50,000 in terms of housing costs. So, it's really the tough balance between saying, bigger house on a smaller lot. Some of the big lots, with those houses are going to be $1 million anyways. So if someone can afford those, it's probably not a big concern. But some of the smaller lots that I think we've approved in some of the subdivisions are, maybe 35% is the sweet spot to keep those in the affordable market for some people that may be a first-time home buyer or someone that's looking to downsize. So I will say I would not support a blanket coverage to 40%. Just my concerns.
Thank you. Anything else? Councillor Welsh.
So my concerns are, I'm not necessarily opposed to the 40%. I have serious concerns about the amount of impervious cover that that may come after the 40% lot coverage for the primary dwelling. There's just been on my street, a house that seems to be bigger than it should be, but maybe isn't. But in the last week, they covered almost 3/4 of the front yard with cement for the driveway. And, I'm wondering what's to prevent us from, or what is to prevent that from happening, and or the backyard being halfway cemented in, and then our lot coverage is a lot more than 40%, because I don't believe we have any controls over people putting in concrete patios and things like that.
Okay.
I guess it's after the 40%.
Thank you. I do have a couple of comments that I'd like to state. First of all, I want to remind council, this was recommended by the planning department that we do this. Second, my understanding is GM Petrie Development that did the 225 homes did have the 40%. And I think you have to remember the engineer has to still state that they'll take the engineering to make sure they're dealing with water based on that 40%. And then our engineers will check that engineer to make sure, in fact, that the drainage is correct. And if they're not satisfied, it wouldn't be approved. So I hate to waste a lot of time on this. I think the 40% is reasonable. It's been requested by the developers for patios or verandas. But again, I think it's something we need to consider moving forward. But Deputy Mayor Field, go ahead.
Yeah, through you. I think Councillor Haya might be right. There wasn't a great deal of people asking at one point. And I think it was pointed out by this developer that covered porches were something that is now become a regular on the back of a lot of houses. And it's more of something that's happened in the last 5 years. So I think, having that ability there for them, I don't believe that every subdivision is going to go to the max 40%. But I think having it there, if people are building a new house and they want to, they have a bigger lot and they want a bigger house, it gives them that option. So I feel okay with it. I think it would support some developments. I think there's other developments that are still going to build smaller homes and they're not going to max out. But where there's a patio at the back of a house, people were building pergolas over them. Now they can put a roof over them. I'm okay with it.
Hey, Councillor Wells.
Again, my concern is not the initial 40% for the primary dwelling. I'm more concerned about what comes after. And if we have our stormwater management engineered to 40%, and then we end up with a lot more impermeable surfaces, then we could end up with a problem.
Councillor Clark, go ahead.
I think that not to be, counteractive to what Councillor Welsh is saying, but 35 or 40% people are still going to cover it, some of it, and you're still going to have that impermeable surface. And there's probably many properties in town right now that are already at 40% just because of that permeable coverage. I think Councillor Hyatt makes a good point, but I think that, we've kind of set precedent with the Jan Petrie, or the previous council did. And I think that has worked okay in that neighborhood. And I don't see a reason not to, making an allowance. It doesn't mean that they have to build it to 40% every time, but I think it's a reasonable thing to consider.
Thank you. Councillor Patel.
Well, I might as well chirp in too. So I think it's complex. I think that there's a lot of good points on both sides. I had to do a lot of research and information to come up with an opinion I felt comfortable with. I think for me, it's not the 40%, but all the other aspects has been already mentioned, but I think that I have to go with the planner and with the recommendations that even though it's a blanket coverage, it's going to be lot per lot, and that we do have a great trust in those individuals and committees to make sure that the coverage and the specs are met, to make sure that it is in the best interest of the town as well as the homeowner. And like has been mentioned, there's a lot of lots on that 40% now.
Thank you. And I think I'll get the clerk to read that bylaw. I think we missed the first bit. I'll get you to read that bylaw, please.
Certainly. And that is the bylaw number 31 of 2026, being a bylaw of the Corporation of the Town of Petrolia to amend bylaw number 63 of 2017, the comprehensive zoning bylaw, to increase permitted lot coverage to 40% on the identified future residential development lands. We read a third time and finally passed.
All those in favor of that motion? Opposed? That motion carries. All right, that'll take us to the third bylaw. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to have that bylaw read a third time. Moved by Deputy Mayor Field, seconded by Councillor Clark. I'll ask the clerk to read that bylaw, please.
And that is for bylaw number 32 of 2026, being a bylaw of the Corporation of the Town of Petrolia to confirm the resolutions and motions of the Council of the Town of Petrolia, which were adopted up to and including July 13th, 2026, be read a third time and finally passed.
Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. All those in favor? Opposed? That bylaw carries. And I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn, please. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Deputy Mayor Field. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the July 13th, 2026 meeting of the Council of the Town of Petrolia be adjourned to the next regular scheduled meeting of council to be held on Monday, September the 14th, 2026, or to call of the chair.
All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. I'd like to wish everyone a good summer, and remember, buy Canadian and local if possible. Thank you.
Neuter your
Bob Barker.
Bob Barker's